All right, guys, it's January 2023. I've had my DX Commander Classic up in front of Studio A for just about a year now, and I think it's time to do a long-term review. Yeah, the DX Commander Classic. Anyway, like I said, new year, new me, new intro screen. Let's do it. Let's do this. All right, guys, welcome to 2023. It's January, the middle of January right now. Generally, I would be on my way down to quartzsite, but you know what? We've had some really nasty weather, and I'm not going to take the motorhome and risk having to chain it up or sit by the side of a road for days on end while the road clears. How do you like the new intro screen? This one was a little bit longer than it will be for the rest of the year. I get that, but I kind of like to introduce it. It's kind of a fun thing for me. Anyway, we'll cut it down from now on, but you guys just saw the one and only showing of the 25-second intro screen. Today, DX Commander Classic. This is a long-term review. It is a great antenna, probably one of the best antennas that I've put up. But it isn't without its problems. I guess you could call it maintenance or call it whatever. Call it the weather. I don't know. Anyway, let's get to it. Well, if you haven't been able to tell from the video, the DX Commander is getting a little unhappy out in the cold. Now, mind you, this antenna's been up for nearly a year, and it's performed really, really well over the year. But I just kind of want to let you know that I don't think anything is maintenance-free, and I think the poles on the DX Commander are kind of prone to doing a little self-collapse. And let me explain. Like many a kite pole, the DX Commander is this self-absorbing tube where you've got, stacking tubes on the inside, and that's what keeps it extended. But when you are setting this thing up to work it as a permanent installation, you kind of got to have something to keep it from collapsing upon itself. Now, the reason it'll tend to collapse on itself is the fact that you have all the antenna elements that start at the bottom. It's connected to those little white tabs that you see on the antenna, and they're under pressure. So over time, they're going to tend to collapse and make that stuff soft. Now, you're probably going to say something or notice the pretty much worthless guy wires that I have using this antenna. There's a reason for that. When I put this antenna together, I wanted an unguide antenna. So I used an aluminum pole, and I pulled the bottom piece out of the tubing. Little bit dangerous if those tubes collapse in there because they'll fall out and be gone. comrade. Welcome to the north. Welcome to Winterfell. The places where this antenna is prone to collapse or suck in your tape and your zip ties is right near these little white element separators that are on the antenna. Those, they kind of wedge into place in a certain spot on the antenna, and they actually do put quite a bit of pressure on there. So it's not really surprising to me that after a certain amount of time, in my case, just about a year. So when I came out the other day to inspect the antenna and do a little B-roll for this video, it had collapsed pretty significantly in a couple of areas. That's what prompted me to pull it off the stand and put it on some sawhorses and get this thing back into shape. Now, the last time I put this antenna together, I used a lot of electrical tape, just like I'm doing right now. But instead of hose clamps, I opted for zip ties, kind of all the way around. Tightened them up as good as I could. I thought, well, maybe between that and the tape, it will keep everything from collapsing. This time, I am going the hose clamp route. Now, will hose clamps work as good as the zip ties? Will they work better? Will it keep the antenna from collapsing? I don't know. Only time will tell. Maybe Callum will send me a message and let me know which way I should be doing it. Now, I got to say, as far as maintenance on this antenna, it is a breeze. I mean, the way I put this up and how fast I was able to take it down, stick it on sawhorses, find the problems that I had, and get this thing back into shape. I mean, I think I was done in under an hour. Had the antenna back up, and all was good. Overall, I'm super, super impressed with the DX Commander. I mean, look, this is a very lightweight, portable antenna. It's a vertical antenna, so it's gonna be a little bit more sensitive. It's gonna pick up a little bit more noise generally, but man, I found this antenna rocks at my location, at least. This is ideal for someone who wants something a little bit lower profile than sticking up your hex beam. I literally have this parked out in front of the house. Mrs. K6UDA doesn't seem to mind it one bit. You almost don't see it unless you're passing by. The performance of this antenna, then it's better than the Cushcraft R7 that I had when I was back in California. It is really, really well thought out, well put together, very low profile. That's the main thing I love about it. I wanted to do it in an unguide situation. I like an unguide antenna. Mrs. K6GDA appreciates an unguide antenna. So what I did is I sunk that metal pole, that aluminum pole, into the ground. I sunk it in 2-3 feet, and I put the DX Commander over it. That mainly supports it. I used the little guy wires that I have clicked onto it just for wind loading. We do get some hellacious winds out here in southern Idaho, so the wind loading capability really, really helps it. It helps stabilize it. It's a 4-band antenna, and each element is cut exactly to the band, so you really don't need a tuner. So when I plug in my 705 and I'm running that without an amp in here, it works just fine. So now for you guys in HOAs, if you're concerned about antennas, if you're concerned about pissing off the HOA Karen, this antenna is a really, really good option for you. Very low profile. If you do something like I did, where you take an aluminum pole, sink it into the ground a little bit, and you ground support this thing. You don't have to have big guy wires. You can guy it like I did off the first antenna separator. It works really, really well. And I think I've proven that for a long-term installation, it works just fine. Like I said, been up a year, very, very little maintenance on the thing. And it took me about an hour to take it down, do the maintenance, fix the elements or fix the pole where it was collapsing, and get everything reset. So as far as long-term with the DX Commander, freaking awesome, guys. I am very, very happy with it. It's doing marvelous here. I mean, I am making contacts all over the world with this thing. That's all I got. Until next time, my friends, I'm Bob, K6UDA, and I'm out of here. 7-3.